All right. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. Mic check, mic check. That's the crowd mic there. That's my mic. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Turn that up. All right. That's right. They can't. Nor can we.
Nobody probably needs to.
Touche.
I'm just saying.
I know. I know. All right, mic check, mic check. Field 4. It's a 4-5 matchup between South Florida State College and Bishop State Community College out of Mobile, Alabama. Batting first as the low seed and the designated visiting team will be Bishop State, as they're in the gold tops as well as the black bottoms today. They'll have Olivia Watkins along with Harmony Stafford and Anaya Burnett, the first three in Bishop State's order. As settle in, we are underway as the first pitch downstairs for a ball. We'll call it 2 o'clock Central Time as far as our game time start. We are avoiding the severe weather today, so certainly thankful for that, as the weather situation coming into today a bit dicey as far as what was expected to be some pretty rough thunderstorms that could have come through the area about this time, but it appears we're going to get today's games in. No worries on that. 2 balls and no strikes to Watkins, as there's the first strike of the ball game. So Watkins still a hitter's count. The center fielder. Our game time temperature today here in Alabaster at 80 degrees with the heat index at 84 and 73% as far as the humidity today. Foul ball out of play, evens the count now, as it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. The South Florida State College starting pitcher, Michaela Oster, gets the call in the circle. One of these two teams can win as few as 4 games as far as winning the district tournament here in Alabaster. There's a pop-up toward the middle of the infield as the catch made by Rodriguez at second base, 1 down. Good start by Oster. Let's take a look at the rest of the Bishop State batting order as Harmony Stafford comes to the bat. It'll be Lizzie Porro, the cleanup batter, the catcher. Kaylee King, the designated player, in the number 5 spot. Kaylee Bryant batting 6th at second base. The third baseman, Mallory Wheat, bats 7th. Right fielder is Jessica Farmer batting 8th, and Emma Wilson at the bottom of the order in left field. First pitch for ball 1 to Stafford. Defense for SFSC, Mercado in left, Holcomb in center, and Rosa in right. Already 1 down as we are just underway. First game of the day on field number 4, as there will be a check swing and no swing as Stafford holds up on the check swing. So Harmony Stafford in a good position like Watkins was. Oster, the right-handed pitcher, winds, comes home, and there's the strike call. So let's take a look as far as the Field 4 schedule for today. As following this game, we'll have our second game, a 3-6 matchup between MMI and Lake Sumter. There's a hard-hit foul ball down the left field line. So evens the count at 2 balls and 2 strikes. MMI not too far away from here, probably about an hour bus ride or so, and then Lake Sumter from out of the Palmetto State. And also taking a look at the rest of our schedule here in just a moment, we'll have a 7 o'clock Central Time game, a winner's bracket game, coming up as there's a foul ball. Stafford a little bit out in front of that, but manages to make some decent contact to stay alive. We appreciate you for joining us here on JockJive.com. By the way, that 7 o'clock game here on Field 4 will feature the winner of St. Johns River, Wallace Dothan, a 2-7 matchup against MMI in Lake Sumter that we will see in our second game today. Pitch number 6 in this at-bat to Stafford. Grounded left side. Not a bad effort that time by Rohrer, the shortstop, but would have been a tough play even if she had been able to make a clean field. And the 5-6 hole that time, so we'll call that a single with 1 out, as that brings up Anaya Burnett, the first baseman. So we've gotten at least our first taste of summer the last couple of weeks here to begin the month of May. As far as the weather here in Alabama. There's a hard hit ball into the gap in left center field. That's going to go all the way to the wall. Oh, check that. That's out. Do even better than that for Anaya Burnett as she's able to clear the bases and round the bases as far as the first big blow of this ball game, a 2-run homer for Bishop State as they take the early lead. So let's add those two on the board. And there you go. A 1-out, 2-run shot in the number 3 spot in the order. So it didn't take but just the first pitch of her at bat for Anaya Burnett to get Bishop State on the board first. Lizzie Porro, the catcher, comes up with the bases cleared and 1 down. There's a comebacker. Easy play for Oster to O'Quinn, 2 down. So already a couple of runs for Bishop State as the infield, by the way, for South Florida State College. Guzman, the third baseman, Rohrer at shortstop, Rodriguez at second, and O'Quinn, that we just saw receive that 1-3 putout at first base. Nobody on base, 2 down. Another first pitch swinging could end the inning as a basket catch that time by O'Quinn to retire the side. But 2 runs on a couple of hits, no errors, and nobody left on base for Bishop State as Bishop State gets the first big blow on the board as we go to the bottom of the first inning as South Florida State College comes to bat here on JockJive.com. A big thank you for joining us on this Thursday afternoon as Bishop State able to get an Anaya Burnett 2-run round tripper to left center field. And that 2-run first inning for Bishop State as South Florida State College has their first at bat, the number 4 seed, and the designated home team for today. It'll be Caden Holcomb along with Summer Washburn and Brielle Rosa, the first 3 due up as they'll go against Emma Mooney, the right-handed pitcher, a tall right-hander for Bishop State going in the circle today. The first of a potential 4, but at least a 3-day journey for these 8 teams in the NJCAA District 2 South Regional at Veterans Park here in Alabaster. Off-speed pitch misses outside for ball 1. Middle of the order for SFSC, Rohrer Guzman. As the pitch on the way is taken outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Rohrer, Guzman, and Rodriguez, the middle of the order, and then also Mercado, O'Quinn, and Burrows at the bottom third of the order. 2-0. On the outside corner, a strike call. So Bishop State off to a good start as South Florida State College wants to try and come up with some sort of answer here in the bottom of the first inning. A good start for the number 5 seed today. As there's a grounder up the middle and just past the shortstop Stafford and into center field. So the bats certainly have come ready to play so far today. On a leadoff single for Caden Holcomb. Brings up Summer Washburn, the catcher. We'll take a look as far as the potential journey for these 2 teams this week. As Mooney fires home and floats that in there on the inside corner, a strike call. Winner of this game will take on the 1-8 winner between Central Alabama Community College and Bevel State. That'll be on Field 1, and the winner will not have to play until 7 o'clock tonight. There's the pitch inside, and the unfortunate thing for as far as a handful of teams today, you lose twice today, then your season comes to a close. So loser of this game returns also at 7 o'clock on Field 2 for an early elimination game relative to their time in this tournament. There's a strike call. Good location on the inside corner. Makes that 1 ball and 2 strikes. And even if you win that elimination game tonight, you'll have a lot of softball ahead of you if you want to come from the losers bracket to win this district tournament. Nobody down. Runner at first base in Holcomb. Pitch. And that's inside. Wilson, Watkins, Farrer, left field, center field, and right fields, respectively, in the outfield for Bishop State. Wheat at third, Stafford the shortstop, Bryant at second, and Burnett at first. And Porro behind home plate today for Bishop State. 2-2 is lined down the left field line, and that will drop down for a base hit. So already the first 2 base runners aboard for South Florida State College, as they've got something going here in the bottom of the first inning, trying to respond to Bishop State's 2 runs in the top of the first inning. James Hardy with you, along with our JockJive crew, as far as our cast of thousands all around, at least this facility. Handful of games going on as far as opening day of the NJCAA District 2 South Region Softball Tournament. Number 3 batter in the order, Brielle Rosa, takes 4 ball 1. So Holcomb now at second base with Washburn on at first. Nobody down. Rosa represents the possible go-ahead run. Still a lot of softball to go in this one as that misses outside. So that's a tough start for Mooney so far, as she has allowed back-to-back hits to begin this ball game. Rosa, a 5'4" utility player out of Orlando. Pops that up, and that goes out of play right side. Rosa in her second season in an SFSC uniform. So Mooney takes her time. We'll hopefully get a look at her numbers here in just a moment. 2-1. Floats in there. Nicely done that time by Mooney. Evens the count. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Big pitch coming up for Mooney. Trying to do everything she can right now as far as trying to keep her team on top, as that's hit foul off the bat handle. So Mooney, a freshman, 25 games, 25 starts, that is, 26 appearances this year. She's had an outstanding year at 17-6 with 1 save in just over 134 innings pitched. ERA a little bit high at 4.33. 2-2. That's popped up. And the catcher in Porro wasn't able to see, at least locate the softball, but no worries as it drops foul. So Mooney will have another 2-strike pitch coming up. Also, we'll take a look as far as those first-round matchups today. District 2 NJCAA South District as the pitch downstairs. Also underway, the 1-8 matchup on Field 1 between Central Alabama as well as Bevel State. Full count now. Our first one of the game, as that's hit in the air and drops just in front of Burnett. Foul. 2-7 between St. John's River as well as Wallace Dothan. Check that. That'll be a 4:30 first pitch. And then our next game here on Field 4 will be a 3-6 matchup between MMI and Lake Sumter. Pitch number 7 in this at-bat. 3-2. And that's low. Good eye that time by Rosa as the bases are loaded with nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning. Holcomb to third. Washburn at second. And that brings up Trinity Rohrer, the shortstop. Nowhere to put her as Bishop State, at least behind the 8 ball right now as the infield comes in. Trying to cut off the runner at third. Drop ball in the dirt. 1 ball and no strikes. Also some noticeable wind as far as Veterans Park is concerned today. Trinity Rohrer out of Sebring, Florida. Most of this roster from the Sunshine State, minus Braley Pylant. Pylant, a Snyder, Texas native, and also Portia Rodriguez that we'll see later on today. An out-of-state native as far as this SFSC roster is concerned, as Bishop State has their first coaching visit of the day as Mooney has struggled so far. Couple hits and a walk allowed, and now behind 1 ball and no strikes to Trinity Rohrer. Rohrer, a 5'9" utility player, also her second year as far as the SFSC roster. Big at bat for both teams as SFSC can tie up this ball game with a single. There's a strike call. Curveball action on the inside corner. Caden Holcomb was able to get a 2-1 single past the shortstop Stafford to begin this half inning. And then Washburn was able to hit a single down the left field line, as there's another solid pitch that time to make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hit the inside corner that time as Rohrer now behind in the count. This is field number 4 at Veterans Park. Our first of 3 today on day 1 of the South District Tournament. NJCAA South District Tournament in Division II this week as that 2-strike pitch outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bases loaded for SFSC. That's hit hard and foul down the third base line. It's the Bishop State Wildcats and the SFSC Lady Panthers going at it today. South Florida State College, navy blue tops and bottoms, also the sleeveless tops with the orange shirts for the designated home team. Nice curveball that time, swing and a miss, so that is a huge strikeout for Mooney. A big first out as that keeps the Lady Panthers off the board, so at least right now, as that brings up Samalis Guzman. Take a look at the profile for Guzman. Also an Orlando, Florida native, as Portia Rodriguez is on deck. There's a strike call. A double play could get Bishop State out of trouble, as this is the 5th batter in the order and the half inning so far for the Lady Panthers. 0-1 showed bunt, and they'll throw back to third base, at least will Poro, and that's not in time. So Emma Mooney doing a solid job of trying to fight back after digging herself a bases-loaded jam with nobody out here in the inning. Oh, 0-2 pitch coming up. Winds, fires, and that's hit right side. Should get the first run of the game home for the Lady Panthers, and does so on a 3 unassisted RBI ground out for Guzman. You're playing the long game if you're the Lady Panthers. You'll take that right now, but you would certainly like a little bit more run production here as far as having the bases loaded and nobody out to start off this half inning, as Washburn and Rosa advance and also Holcomb comes home from third to score. Now runners at second and third for Portia Rodriguez as she takes a strike call. Rodriguez, the Frederick, Oklahoma native, the starting second baseman today. The sophomore stands in. 0-1 on her. And that gets away as coming home to tie up the ball game is Summer Washburn. And the possible go-ahead run, Brielle Rosa to third base on that wild pitch. So a costly wild pitch that time as the count now goes to 1-1 strike. So both teams have now scored a couple of runs here in their first at-bat today. There's the pitch a little bit high that time. Hitters count on Rodriguez. Scoring got started on an Anaya Burnett 2-run homer on the first pitch she saw in the top of the first inning. That's hit off the bat handle and an easy play over at third for Wheat to retire the side. However, 2 runs for the Lady Panthers score on a couple of hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. As we're through 1 inning of play here at field number 4 at Veterans Park as both teams have put 2 runs on the board to begin this ball game as we go to the bottom of the second inning on JockJive. One inning in the books, and both teams able to get off to a good start offensively as Bishop State and South Florida State College each posted a couple of runs in the first inning. James Hardy with you. Also underway this week as far as the competition here at Veterans Park. The ACCC Softball Championship. Shelton State playing on field number 2 as we speak, just off to our right, as they're taking on Northwest Shoals Community College in a 4-5 matchup. And the winner of that game will take on Wallace State Hanceville at 4:30, also on field number 2. Also, Snead State underway. There's a nice diving stab over at third, and the throw to first base is in time. Very nice play by Guzman as she was able to dive to her left and then toss over to first base in time for the first out of the inning. That was a web gem that time as Kaylee Bryant robbed of a leadoff single as Mallory Wheat to the plate. Also, Jessica Farrer scheduled to come up here in the top of the second inning. There's the first pitch foul ball, as I think we've seen the strategy so far for Bishop State for the Wildcats swing early so far today against Oster. So Bishop State has not been shy as far as getting their swings early so far today. Now the last 5 Bishop State batters have swung on the first pitch as Oster comes home, and that's a rise ball high. So in that first inning, you had Stafford and Burnett that reached Stafford on a single, and then that 2-run first pitch homer to left center field for Anaya Burnett. 1-1. That's outside on the curveball. Looks as if we're going to be able to avoid the stormy weather, as it looks as if that what could have been some potential stormy weather around here is pushed off to the south and east. There's a line drive that's foul down the left field line. Imagine we should be staying in the low to mid 80s throughout this day. Now, with the humidity, it's going to feel a bit warmer than that, so more of kind of almost a late June, maybe even a mid-June type of feel weather-wise today. 2-2 pitch. That's downstairs on the drop ball. That's the last time I was here. Remember, Wallace State, Hansville showing up here with a lot of Division I talent as far as then head coach A.J. Doherty's roster with the Lions. Now the head coach at UAB just completing his second season with the Blazers as that 3-2 is up and in for ball four. So a one-out base runner for Bishop State as Wheat aboard at first base. Brings up the number 8 batter in the order. Third in the inning, Jessica Faurer, the right fielder. Should get as high as far as our temperature today. It's 85 degrees, probably by the end or so of our second game today. Pitch on the outside corner, a strike call. And then looking as far, could get a little wet weather overnight, but I think we should be fine as far as getting all of the day one games in tonight. No balls, one strike to Farmer. Oster comes home. That's popped up, and that's going to come our way out of play. May synonymous as far as the college and community college scene when it comes to baseball and softball postseason play when you want to play at your best this time of the year. Oh-2 coming up. And that's taken for ball one. Emma Wilson on deck. The way this game's shaping up, it appears that at least we're going to see a lot of offense from these two teams in this first game of the day. Two-strike pitch, and that dips inside. Also low that time from Oster. Michaela Oster, the starting right-hander. Take a look at her particulars. 5'6", but seems taller than that from our vantage point. Out of Dunedin, Florida. 2-2. That's hit foul past the third base coach's box. Carlos Falla, the head coach for the Lady Panthers of South Florida State College. Carlos's assistants, Melissa Jeter, as well as Taylor Curry. 2-2 coming up, and a swing and a miss at a nice changeup. Got Faurer well out in front of that 2-2. That's the first strikeout today for Oster. As there's now two away, we're at the bottom of the order, so the Bishop State Wildcats have batted around so far the first time today. Emma Wilson, her first look at Oster. Pitch is taken high. So 1 ball and no strikes. Take a look at Emma Wilson's numbers. 31 out of 131 coming into today. 1 homer, 29 RBIs. Pitch on the way. And that's a good location that time. Evens the count, 1 ball and 1 strike. So with a lot of early swings from Bishop State, that's allowed Michaela Oster to keep her pitch count a little bit low so far. Pitch hit hard up the middle and through for a base hit. So Wheat advances into scoring position as we're back to the top of the order in Olivia Watkins. Watkins popped up to second her first time up. Sophomore comes into today. 44 out of 141 offensively, 3 homers and 23 RBIs. That's a .312 average, also .448 her on-base percentage coming into today. Oster misses low. She's been trying to come, at least on the lower and inner portion of the strike zone so far today. A mistake pitch so far to Anaya Burnett today. Only one walk for her today as she misses upstairs. Now, she did give up 2-0 counts in the first inning as far as her first two batters faced in Watkins and Stafford. Let's see if Bishop State can respond as they have 2 runners aboard, 2 outs. 2-0. That's hit off the end of the bat. Nice scoop over at third by Guzman and throws on the run to first in time. Side retired, no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 2 left on base as we go to the bottom of the second inning here on field number 4 at Veterans Park as we remained knotted up at 2 apiece here on JockJive.com. Bishop State leaves a couple of runners on base in their half of the second inning as the bottom third of the Lady Panthers order for South Florida State College comes up here in the bottom of the second inning. James Hardy with you, along with our tens of thousands as far as our crew here from Jock Jive this week at Veterans Park in Alabaster. We're actually located about halfway between Alabaster and Montevallo on Highway 119 as far as the Veterans Park complex. A very tranquil part of Shelby County and the Birmingham metro area. So Haley Mercado, the left fielder, leads off in the number 7 spot in the order as she takes ball 1. South Florida State College was able to load the bases with nobody out in the first, and they were able to scratch out a couple to tie up the game in the bottom of the first inning. Mooney comes home, and that's on the outside corner, a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mercado out of Groveland, Florida, as she bats from the right side. Pitch sails outside on the curveball. So another hitter's count, as Mooney has gone fairly deep in just about every batter that she's faced for South Florida State College. 2-1. Nice location that time. Hugs the inside corner. So 2 balls and 2 strikes as Emma Mooney trying to come up with what would be her second strikeout of the day. 2-2. Popped up toward the second base bag as would have been a tough play for Stafford. I don't think a clean field and throw would have gotten her, so we'll call that an infield leadoff single for Mercado. Kind of in no man's land that time as it landed shy of that second base bag in between Stafford and Bryant, the shortstop, and the second baseman, respectively. So it brings up Olivia O'Quinn. So now the possible go-ahead runner on base as that's hit foul and out of play. O'Quinn, our first time to see her today. 5'8". Also a very familiar theme in another Orlando, Florida native. A lot of Central Florida natives on the SFSC roster. As there's the bunt. Mooney tosses over to first as Bryant covering the bag at first base on the sacrifice. 1-4 on the scoring. 1 down as now Mercado into scoring position. So the Lady Panthers trying to utilize a little small ball here in the second inning as we're at the bottom of the order for Anna Burroughs. Out of Palm Bay, Florida. About an hour and a little bit of change. Just a tad bit to the south of due east of Orlando. Mercado in scoring position as Burroughs trying to get her home and takes a strike call. Burroughs, a 5'2" utility player, the designated player today. Also in her second season with the Lady Panthers. Mooney comes home. That's a pretty good pitch that time, but just misses a bit outside. About 2 or 3 inches outside. See if Mooney decides to come inside this time. Here's the pitch. And that sails a little bit further outside. Emma Mooney, the freshman, getting the first start for Bishop State in the circle here in Alabaster this week. 2-1. And that's a dead ball and looks as if it's going to be a foul ball. Home plate umpire said it went off the knob of the bat that time. So keep Burroughs at home plate and add a strike on the board as the count goes even now. Emma Mooney out of Hazel Green, Alabama. As she looks to get a big out here. 2-2. Outside. So Mooney determined to try and get Burroughs to chase after that outside pitch. However, the designated player for the Lady Panthers hasn't bitten on those outside pitches so far. First base open, but the Lady Panthers at the top of their order awaiting. Payoff. And that'll come inside, and this time it's an HBP. So according to our home plate umpire, does connect with the body that time of Hannah Burroughs as she's on base to now put 2 on the base pads for the Lady Panthers as we go back to the top of the order. Caden Holcomb, a single and a run scored in the first inning. And let's see if we're going to have a little training session as far as making sure that Burroughs is all right. As she's having a little attention over beyond the first base bag right side. Competitive game so far between these two teams as they take a look at Anna Burroughs. Bishop State scored the first 2 runs on a first pitch 2-run homer to left center field by Anaya Burnett. And then South Florida State College able to get a bases-loaded ground out from Samalis Guzman. And then a wild pitch with 2 outs allowed Summer Washburn to come home from third. So they're still taking a look at Anna Burroughs beyond the first base bag. So that must have made a bit more impact than I thought it did when it hit her on what was her payoff pitch. So she appears to be okay, so she'll thankfully stay in the ball game. Now that that training visit has come to an end, we'll resume some softball as we're in the bottom of the second inning of our first of 3 games here on field number 4. Holcomb, one of her biggest at-bats of the postseason and the entire season so far. Initially showed bunt, but pulls and takes a strike. Shaping up to be a competitive ball game down the stretch today. Almost through the first 2 innings of today's ball game. There's another strike call. And quickly Holcomb behind, no balls and 2 strikes. A warm, muggy Thursday afternoon as the 2-strike pitch outside. 1-2. Pressure right now on Mooney as she's trying to avoid surrendering at least the tie and giving the Lady Panthers their first lead of the day. 2-strike pitch upstairs. A walk, a hit batter, 3 hits allowed, and a strikeout for Mooney so far through 1 and a third innings pitched. Single hit by pitch and a sacrifice in between the two base runners. That's into the left center field, and that's going to drop down for a base hit. Gets away from Watkins momentarily, but not far enough for Mercado to advance home. As the bases loaded off of that Caden Holcomb two-strike single. So you have Summer Washburn to the plate, Mercado at third, Burrows to second, and Holcomb aboard for Summer Washburn. Washburn a single and a run scored in the first. Able to hit a single hard down the left field line her last time up. Curveball outside. Something Emma Mooney has not done so far consistently, and that's get early pitches over for strikes. Now the pressure on her to try and keep this game tied. That's hit up the middle, and that'll get to the shortstop as the backhand flip not in time. Let's call that an RBI, certainly an RBI. And we'll call that an RBI single, as that'll allow the other runners to advance an extra base. Mercado scores, Burrows to third, Holcomb aboard at second base now. As we'll add a run on the board to the home team as South Florida State College takes their first lead of the day. So Washburn at first off of her first RBI as Brielle Rosa to the plate. She takes off-speed pitch to strike call. Rosa a walk her last time up. A 4-5 matchup. So at least on paper, you'd figure kind of a back-and-forth type of game today. That's hit hard into left field, and that's going to be caught in left field as tagging and coming home to score is the play at third base, and not in time. As a sacrifice fly to left field for Rosa. 2 runs in the inning now. As Holcomb advances to third, Burrows comes home to score, and Washburn remains at first base. First RBI for Rosas. There's now 2 down. Add the extra out on the board. There we go. As we're at the cleanup batter, Trinity Rohrer. Struck out with the bases loaded in the first inning. Runner goes from first. That's outside as nice, at least snag that time for Mooney as she tosses over to third, not in time. Pitch, I believe, outside that time, and indeed for ball 1. So now runners at second and third. Give that a stolen base. Basically an uncontested stolen base for the Lady Panthers. So that's their first steal of the day, as there's the first strike at this at-bat. Rohrer, 1 ball and 1 strike. Also 2 runs in the inning. There we go. So a 2-run advantage. Looking for more is South Florida State College. Time called, and like a couple batters ago, that pitch a borderline HBP or a foul ball. In this case, a foul ball. Oh, check that. They say, looks like the home plate umpire said that Rohrer did not make enough of an attempt to get out of the way of the pitch. Was outside, or at least inside, not in the strike zone. So a ball. 2-1 downstairs. So 3 balls and 1 strike. So South Florida State College, if they can come up with a gapper here, they can certainly help their cause as far as extending their lead. Also be able to build a nice cushion. That's hit towards center field, as that will be caught by Watkins to retire the side. However, 2-run score on 3 hits, no errors, and 2 left in scoring position. We're through 2 full innings of play here at field number 4 at Alabaster Veterans Park, as it is now South Florida State College 4 and Bevel State 2. Or check that, Bishop State 2. Michaela Oster inherits a 2-run advantage, the first time she inherits a lead when she returns to the circle. We're in the third inning, 2 innings in, as Bishop State held off the board and left 2 runners on base in the second inning, while South Florida State College able to take advantage as they scored a couple of runs in their half of the second inning. 2, 3, and 4 for Bishop State here in the third inning. So now they're playing from behind as a nice snag on the first pitch by Guzman as she tosses over to first base. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the third. Guzman able to read that play right off the bat. Had to be on your toes at all times over at that hot corner. Anaya Burnett had a 2-run homer on the first pitch she saw in the top of the first inning. And she takes a changeup, a strike call. Many thanks for all of you for joining us today. Burnett, the sophomore slugger out of Luverne, Alabama, in the teeth of South Central Alabama, as she takes inside for a ball. So 1 ball and 1 strike. We'll get a scoreboard update here in a moment. Another grounder to third as Guzman tosses across the diamond in time. So 2 up and 2 down. So ACCC baseball action over at Jacksonville State as Southern Union leads Northwest Shoals 4-3 as they're in the top of the 7th inning. Quickly 2 down as Burnett retired for the first time as Lizzie Porro grounded out back to the box her last time up. Lofts that one into shallow right center. Going out the second baseman, Rodriguez makes the grab, and that's quick work for Oster here in the third inning. 3 up and 3 down for Bishop State as we go to the bottom of the third inning. Remains South Florida State College 4 and Bishop State 2 here on JockJive.com. We go to the bottom of the third inning. That was a 5-pitch half inning for Michaela Oster, as she's averaged just a little more than 12 pitches per inning in her 3 innings at 37 pitches. So that's a pretty good pitch count for her as far as getting this tournament started for the South Florida State College Lady Panthers. James Hardy with you. South Florida State College gave up the first 2 runs of the ball game, but they have scored the last 4 so far, as they have the momentum with Guzman, Rodriguez, and Mercado coming up. Winner takes on the winner of the 1-8 matchup, as Central Alabama Community College, the 1 seed in this NJCAA South District tournament. This is NJCAA District or Division II action as far as the South District is concerned. Guzman got the scoring started for the Lady Panthers in the first with an RBI bases-loaded ground out to first her last time up. Mooney misses outside. So 2 balls and no strikes. Bevel State taking on Central Alabama over on field number 1. Officially game 1 in this NJCAA Division II South District tournament. Rise ball up and away. Not the type of start you want if you're Mooney or Bishop State to this half inning. 3 balls and no strikes. The Lady Panthers would love to add to their 2-run total as Mooney comes home. There's a strike call. So Mooney has gone deep in multiple at-bats so far today. There's a 3-1 about to come our way. Fourth time today that Mooney has gone to some sort of 3-ball count. We'll see how far she goes for the Bishop State Wildcats. 3-1 outside for ball 4. So that missed well outside as Guzman aboard for the first time today. Brings up Portia Rodriguez, who popped up to third her last time up. The type of day that it is, even though it's certainly not what you would consider the July, August, and early September type of heat in Alabama. Still, the fans looking for as much shade as they can on this warm day, as there's a ground ball through the left side for a base hit for Rodriguez. Just past the outstretched Wheat over at third. As Guzman now to second, nobody down for South Florida State College here in the third inning. Brings up Suhaili Mercado, the left fielder. Singled and scored to begin the second inning. The Lady Panthers have scored 2 runs in each of their first 2 at-bats. Still nobody down here in the bottom half of the third. As there's a strike call. Already 6 hits now for South Florida State College, just 3 for Bishop State. And 2 of those came in the first inning. Actually, 2 of those hits through their first 3 batters in the first. There's a good pitch on the inside corner. That seems to be the most effective spot so far for Mooney today. At least kind of that changeup or screwball on that inside half of the plate. 0-2 the count. Pitch. Nice job of keeping this at bat alive as Mercado able to foul it off. Just kind of lunged the bat out there and was able to get some sort of contact to have another chance. A little surprised that the Lady Panthers not sacrificing in this situation, but let's see if this pays off. Outside that time. Of course, likely not going to sacrifice with 2 strikes in this situation. But certainly they want to at least see a productive out to get those runners at second and third. 1-2. That's actually a pretty decent pitch that time as Mercado takes inside. Samalis Guzman began with a walk. And then Portia Rodriguez able to get a single. Two-run lead for the Lady Panthers as there's a dribbler down the third base line. A tough play for Wheat. In fact, there will be no play. Just as good, in fact, better than a sacrifice bunt that time as Guzman to third, Rodriguez to second, and Mercado on at first on a swinging bunt single. With Wheat played back, just nothing she could do that time as Olivia O'Quinn has a chance practically to have a knockout blow here if she can come up with an extra base hit. Sacrifice her last time up. There's a line drive into right as that will fall down and get past the right fielder forward. Watch the Lady Panthers go on the base pass as 3 runs come home to score, and in the third base, we'll call it a bases clearing triple for Olivia O'Quinn. So Farrer took probably a good gamble that time. Or check that, a tag out at third, so we'll call that a double, but nonetheless 3 RBIs on the play. So indeed, cleared the bases and add an out on the board, but I think the Lady Panthers will more than take that exchange as far as the out for 3 more runs to make it now 7-2. They were able to get the out. That's a double as Guzman, Rodriguez, and Mercado able to score. So one down now and nobody aboard. Well, that 9-4-5 on the putout. As we'll have, looks like a pinch hitter now at the plate. Good to look at the first substitution for either team so far on this Thursday afternoon. As there's a first pitch foul ball as the spot for Anna Burrows in the lineup. As Kaylee Underwood grabs the bat. Gets a little bit of PT today. So Olivia O'Quinn able to come through with a bases clearing double as she was later thrown out at third. 0-1 to Underwood. Takes to even the count. First time see Underwood this week out of Lake Placid, Florida, a 5'7" infielder. Mooney works with the bases cleared now, but 3 runs on the board here in the inning. Pitch. Not bad that time, but misses a little bit outside. Mooney has struggled to connect on that outside portion of the plate. That's it's now 2-1. Mooney comes home. That also misses outside on the curveball. So 3 hits and a walk so far in the inning. As O'Quinn was gunned down at third for so far the only out of this inning. As Underwood, the pinch hitter, bounces that foul to load the count full at 3-2. So now an opportunity, at least over the next couple of innings possibly, for the Lady Panthers maybe to put themselves in the positive end of run rule territory. Of course, 8 runs after 5 as this is the first game today on field number 4. 3-2 bouncer. Convenient hop on a Thursday for Wheat as she throws a little bit low and not dug out that time by Burnett. Definitely an error, our first error today. Yeah, I think give that an E5 as well because of that low throw. What should have been a routine play that time for Wheat turns into another Lady Panthers base runner. So runner on base, back to the top of the order we go. Caden Holcomb, third at bat today, as she takes ball 1. Holcomb 2 for 2 with a run scored. Singles in the first and the second. Already 3 have scored for South Florida State College in this half inning. Outfield shading toward the opposite way on the slap hitters. That goes foul. So the Bishop State Wildcats defense expecting Holcomb either to beat into the ground on the third base side or connect as far as a line drive toward that left side of the outfield. 1-1. That's slapped and foul down the third base line. Looks as if our next 2 teams about to situate themselves in the green room for our scheduled 4:30 game here on field number 4. MMI and Lake Sumter, our next game on field 4. Soft foul ball back to the screen. Makes it 1 ball and 2 strikes. South Florida State College with at least breaking this game open with a 3-run double by Olivia O'Quinn earlier this half inning. That's outside off-speed pitch. So the Lady Panthers have been able to score 7 unanswered runs after Anaya Burnett opened this game with a 2-run homer for Bishop State in the top of the first inning. 2-strike pitch. High. Rise ball that time as Mooney just has not been able to connect on that outside portion of the plate. 3-2 coming up. 3 hits, a walk, and an error so far this inning, as Holcomb looking to get on base again. 3-2, that's inside outed that time past the third base coach's box. After getting down 2 runs going into their first at-bat, South Florida State College has just been able to seize momentum, and they have not let go of it ever since their first at-bat. Looking to advance to the winner's bracket game later tonight. Payoff. Inside-out swing, and pretty much the same spot, a foul ball. As you might notice, there's some fairly new field turf as far as all the fields here at Veterans Park in Alabaster. At least the first time I've seen the field turf installation since the last time I've been here a couple years ago, as the payoff outside for ball 4. So Underwood advances into scoring position. As again, you got the leadoff batter in the order, Holcomb. That's aboard, and that brings up Summer Washburn. 2 for 2, 2 singles, an RBI, and a run scored. Mooney in a lot of trouble now, as there's an outside corner pitch for a strike. One of the rare pitches for Mooney that she's been able to hit that outside corner, trying to go with that curveball on the outside portion of the plate. Bunt shown. Good one right side. Tough play for the first baseman. In fact, no play, as we've seen a couple of excellent bunts so far in this half inning. So Washburn 3 for 3 now, as that loads the bases. And 9-1-1 territory now for the team in the field defensively in Bishop State. Holcomb to second and Underwood to third, as we're going to have an infield powwow for the Wildcats. So now the Lady Panthers, the home team, SFSC, has a chance to blow this game wide open. Either a couple of singles or an extra base hit here from Brielle Rosa. Rosa today, as the infield defensive meeting in the circle comes to a close. Rosa, a walk in the first, sac fly RBI in the second, so she has at least not an official at-bat so far in 2 plate appearances. A productive day nonetheless for her offensively. Rise ball upstairs. 8 batters have come up in the inning for South Florida State College. A long trip for them to make up here to Central Alabama, but so far a successful one, as they're looking to get into the winner's bracket. 1-0 drop ball in the dirt. Or at least, well, more appropriately, the carpet out there as far as the dirt-colored carpet. 2 balls, no strikes. Pitch. That's hit hard left side. Nice play by the shortstop in Stafford, who goes to Wheat the short route. Productive out, though. 6-5 on the fielder's choice is an RBI. So Rosa aboard as Underwood comes home to score. And also that means Holcomb retired on 6-5 fielder's choice. 2 down. And Washburn into scoring position. So keep the bases loaded and add another run on the board, as that's 4 runs in the inning, as South Florida State College has doubled their run total so far in this inning. Coaching visit for Bishop State. South Florida State College has had their way really the last couple of innings now with the designated visiting team today. And you imagine that for Mooney, this may be the last batter that she gets to face no matter what happens as far as this half inning is concerned. So scheduled for the cleanup batter here in Trinity Rohrer. Rohrer so far today 0 for 2. Takes outside. Mooney closing in on the century mark. Just 11 pitches now shy of that 100 pitch mark. That's been quite a lengthy afternoon so far for her. Has had to labor through almost 3 innings of work. Changeup dips low and away. Rohrer a strikeout in the first and then ended the second on a fly out to center. A single could put South Florida State College into run rule territory. As Mooney in trouble, misses outside 3-0. Rohrer, the 4th batter in the order, 9th batter in the inning, as the Lady Panthers have batted around here in the 3rd. 3-0, way outside for ball 4. I think that Mooney is closing in on the finish line and not in the good way as far as Bishop State is concerned, as another run comes home to score. Or check that the bases loaded, I should say, as you'll have Washburn now to 3rd, Rosa to 2nd, and Rohrer aboard as Guzman now with the bases loaded as she takes for ball 1. Guzman walked to begin this inning and came home to score. Also an RBI ground out in the first. So now nowhere to put Guzman as Mooney comes home just on the outside corner. South Florida State College 8 and Bishop State 2. 4 runs already in the inning as the 1-1. Off the end of the bat and drops foul. The Lady Panthers have sent at least 6 batters in an inning in every at-bat so far today. 6 in the first, 7 in the second, and now 10 here in the 3rd. 1-2. Tapper right back to the box as Mooney an easy toss over to first base in time to close out this half inning. But 4 more runs on the board as South Florida State College increases their lead up to 6 as we're through 3 innings of play here on field number 4 on JockJive.com. From field number 4 at Veterans Park here in Alabaster, Bishop State trying to fight their way back in as they'll have their 5, 6, and 7 batters due up here in the top of the 4th inning. South Florida State with the momentum in the dugout, third base side, as the home team in the Lady Panthers of SFSC occupying the third base dugout, and Bishop State over in the first base dugout. First of 3 games today are on field number 4, day 1 of the NJCAA Division II South District Tournament here in Alabaster, Alabama. Alabaster, a long-time home, a great home as far as the ACCC, Alabama Community College Conference, when it comes to their state tournament for over a decade now. Hosting the Division II South Region Tournament this week as Kaylee King leads off. Fouled out to first to end the first inning, her last time up. As that rise ball a touch high. 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. 3 left on base. Check that, 2 left on base. I beg your pardon for Bishop State in their 3 at-bats. There's a screw ball on the inside corner. 8 runs, 9 hits, no errors, and 6 left on base for South Florida State College. 1 ball, 1 strike. Just outside that time on the curveball. 40 pitches now unofficially on the part of the Lady Panthers starting pitcher, Michaela Oster. That's hit out of play. Oster looks as if she's pitching to contact so far today and has been able to successfully do so relative to keeping that pitch count rather low so far, almost halfway through this regulation 7-inning affair. 2-2 on the way. And that's just tapped foul at the plate. Kaylee King, the designated player today for Bishop State. Every team in this district tournament will have at least 2 games today, no matter what happens. King wearing lucky number 7, the freshman. 6th pitch of the inning misses high, and so we go to a rare full count pitch so far today for Oster. That's just the second time she's seen a full count scenario. As the 3-2 coming our way. Grounded fair down the third baseline is Guzman. An easy throw by a couple of steps as King retired for out number 1. We'll get that out on the board for those of you at home. As that is now 5 batters in a row retired for Oster. Kaylee Bryant, a ground out to third her last time up. That led off the second. Takes a rise ball for a ball. High and away that time. Bryant, the starting second baseman. Oster takes her time, now comes home. Just a little bit inside. So Oster today, 3 1/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 runs, all earned, 1 walk and 1 strikeout. And gets ahead, or at least gets a strike call. Still behind in the count is Oster. A hitter's count on the flip side for Bryant. So a low number of strikeouts and walks also helping Oster to keep that pitch count low. Rise ball upstairs. So now Bishop State starting to at least be a little more patient the second time through their order. Nobody aboard with 1 down. 3-1. Bouncer and foul. Good thing for Bishop State that went foul because that was a nice short hop stab by Guzman. Guzman's been fairly busy over at that hot corner. 5 infield assists so far since the second inning. One of the pitcher's best friends when you can have a spectacular and steady defensive infield. Another payoff, and that's pulled foul. Jump rope job that time over at the third base coach's box. A couple of big hits today. Bishop State with a 2-run homer by Anaya Burnett, and also a bases-clearing 3-run double by Olivia O'Quinn. That's basically the deciding hit as far as giving the designated home team, SFSC, their 6-run advantage. Pitch number 7. Hit into left center field. Long run into center, and the left fielder makes the sliding catch. Mercado, 2 down. Thought that might have had a chance to drop safely, but Mercado able to catch up to it and slide forward into that left center field gap for the second out of the inning. So the Bishop State side of the scorecard a little bit clean, at least on my end right now offensively, as they left nobody on base in the first, 2 in the second inning, and They're looking, at least South Florida State College defensively, to send Bishop State up and down 1-2-3 for a second consecutive inning. Mallory Wheat, a one-out walk in the second. Eight unanswered runs for the Lady Panthers, as I believe it was Oster that called and received time. MMI awaits, I guess we'll call it the orange room for them. They are on deck. Also Lake Sumter likewise for our next game, as there's on the inside corner that time. Screwball strike. Jessica Farrer on deck if Wheat can manage to get aboard. Oster comes home. Nice pitch that time on the inside corner. So she's looking for another 1-2-3 inning. SFSC in position with 2 more runs and 4 more outs to have an early end to this first game of the day on field 4. 1-2. Swing and a miss at the drop ball. And that'll do it for Bishop State as they go down in order once again here in the 4th. We're halfway home, all SFSC up 8-2 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning here on JockJive.com. Here on JockJive.com, our coverage of the NJCAA Division II South District Tournament here at Veterans Park in Alabaster, as the Lady Panthers of South Florida State College have a 6-run advantage as they're looking to maybe put themselves in run rule territory as we're halfway through a regulation game here on field number 4. James Hardy, along with the cast of thousands here at Veterans Park this week. Championship round on Saturday, and there is a potential, if necessary, game on Mother's Day on Sunday. Mother's Day weekend coming up. Certainly an early happy Mother's Day weekend to all of our fine mothers out there watching us today. 6, 7, and 8 coming up as the Lady Panthers batted 10 in the 3rd inning as they were able to double their run production in that 3rd. Portia Rodriguez 1 for 2 with a run scored as she takes outside. Give a lot of credit to Emma Mooney back out there as she has taken a lot of pounding so far through her first 3 innings of work in the circle. Rodriguez a single her last time up as she takes for ball 2. Certainly not the type of momentum into a potential elimination game you want if you're Bishop State, as the Lady Panthers have had the momentum in the third base dugout ever since the first. There's a strike call, screwball in the inside corner. Mercado on deck, also Olivia O'Quinn scheduled to come to bat. 2-1, just inside. Bishop State in the bright yellow, we'll call it gold tops, and the black bottoms. Navy blues, tops and bottoms for SFSC. 3-1. Hit into center field, now to left center as ranging over Watkins makes the grab. That is the first time today that Mooney has been able to retire the leadoff batter for SFSC. Nobody on base for Mercado. 2 for 2. Couple singles and a pair of runs scored. That's certainly a good step forward for Mooney. As the pitch tapped right side. Tough play as that will stay fair and no play for Mooney. That's, I think, the third time we've seen either a bunt or a swinging bunt single, something like that, for the Lady Panthers as Mercado 3 for 3. She's aboard at first for Olivia O'Quinn. O'Quinn 1 for 1, sacrificing the second, and then that big 3-run double as she was thrown out trying to stretch that into a triple. So Mooney now works with 1 out and a base runner on. As there's the first pitch, fly ball. Shallow right as the catch made by Faurer, 2 down. So now we're at the bottom of the order, as we saw, and indeed will see now at the designated player spot, Kaylee Underwood, who reached on an E5 and also came home to score on that O'Quinn 3-run double. Here's the pitch. That's hit high and goes out of play. Off toward the awaiting Marion Military Institute squad. They'll take on Lake Sumter, scheduled for a 4:30 Central Time first pitch. Right now, Bishop State does not want an early exit in this first game. Down by 6, I beg your pardon, as there's a foul ball. Quickly, no balls and 2 strikes on Kaylee Underwood. At least as it stands right now, when it comes to our South District bracket, SFSC would be able to go into a 7 o'clock winners bracket game on field 1. 0-2. Downstairs. Almost 4 innings for Mooney so far. Has allowed a hit this inning and 10 hits so far in 3 2/3. One ball, 2 strikes. That's outside. I think all but one of the runs that have been given up have been earned. So that's 8 runs, 7 earned unofficially so far. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pop up, left side, and out of play. Lady Panthers with the upper hand so far. Winner of this district tournament goes to the Division II National Tournament after this week, as the 2-strike pitch is yanked foul. We'll have another 2-2 pitch coming up. Championship game scheduled for 6:30 on Saturday on field number 5. Also a potential Mother's Day, if necessary, game at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Another 2-2 on the way. Good eye that time by Underwood. Count full, so that means that Mercado at first base gets a head start with 2 outs on the upcoming payoff pitch. Not a very deep roster for South Florida State coming into today, with just at least 4 available bench players today. But they've played well so far. Payoff is on the outside corner, a called strike 3. That does it for the Lady Panthers. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a runner left on base. So SFSC has been held off the board for the first time today, as we're through 4 still. Lady Panthers 8 and the Bishop State Wildcats 2. Emma Mooney had 110 pitches through her 4 innings as she was able to hold the SFSC Lady Panthers off the board in the 4th inning. We're in the 5th inning now. 8, 9, and 1 due up for Bishop State as they're in a 6-run hole in the first game for both of these teams this week in Alabaster. James Hardy with you as we appreciate you for joining us here from field number 4 at Veterans Park in Alabaster. We're about halfway down State Route 119 between Alabaster and Montevallo. In the Shelby County portion of the Birmingham metro area as Jessica Farrer leads off. I mentioned 110 pitches for Mooney, and probably about a third of those are around there, maybe a little more than a third as far as that percentage. So a little over 50 pitches, closer to 55 now for Oster. It's the count at 1-0. There's a strike call. Oster's so far just 1 strikeout. That came thanks to Jessica Farrer back in the 2nd inning. Efficient outing so far for the right-hander Oster. Grounder deep at short. Tough play, and in fact will be no play as that's a late throw by Rohrer on to first base. Infield single, just the 4th today for Bishop State in their 1st since the 2nd inning. So that brings us to the number 9 spot, Emma Wilson. Outs starting to become, at least outs remaining, starting to become a factor now for Bishop State. So that probably takes a sacrifice out of their available options right now as that misses downstairs for a ball. Emma Wilson, a single her last time up. That breaks up a string of 7 in a row retired by Michaela Oster. 1-0. That misses around the ankles. So Oster had a couple of full counts in that 4th inning, but in the 3rd inning was able to get 3 up, 3 down in only 5 pitches. 2-0. That's sliced and goes right side out of play. First to 3 today. Our next scheduled game not for about another hour and change. Not going to jinx the timing any further right now. As we certainly hope with 3 games today that we can at least stay on some semblance of being on schedule. South Florida State College wants to get across the finish line successfully, though. So there's a grounder as Rohrer to Rodriguez for 1, and that'll be all. 6-4 on the fielder's choice. Farrer retired for out number 1. Back to the top of the order. Olivia Watkins, a pop-up to 2nd, and a ground out to 3rd. Her last time up ended the 2nd inning. Bishop State with a 2-run homer by Anaya Burnett in the 1st inning as they scored the first 2 runs of this ball game, but they've given up 8 unanswered runs since. Inside half that time, a strike call. Haven't gotten really a good look as far as some of Watkinson's numbers this year, so hopefully we'll be able to sneak a peek at her stats this season. 0-1. Little bit high that time. As a team, solid .306 batting average for Bishop State. Watkins, the sophomore, 44 out of 141 coming into today, a .312 average as that gets away to the backstop. First wild pitch of the day as Wilson now in scoring position. So 2 balls and 1 strike. .448 is the leading on-base percentage on the team for Watkins so far this year, the sophomore. Harmony Stafford on deck. 2-1. Oster misses high. The Wildcats of Bishop State trying to create their own window of opportunity right now. Not much of a window, as there's one out in the inning, and they're down to their final 8 outs in this game. A defensive visit as far as a couple of the infielders, as well as the battery combination of Oster and Washburn. SFSC making the trip up to Central Alabama this week, looking to advance in the postseason, as are the other 7 teams here in Alabaster. 3-1 your count. Runner now at second as that's hit and foul left side. So payoff pitch coming up. The last thing you want if you're Bishop State is to fail to score with the runner in scoring position, give up a couple of runs, and have this game come to a screeching halt. So resilience time for the Bishop State Wildcats. As good eye that time by Watkins as she takes low for a walk. First walk since the second inning on the part of Michaela Oster. Harmony Stafford, the freshman, 1 for 2, scored a run in the first and grounded out to third to begin the third. Oster comes home, and a strike call. Anaya Burnett on deck. Now on the flip side, if Bishop State can get a crooked number on the board, they can come up with a big inning. They can get right back in this game. This may be the opportunity for them to do so. Rise ball up and away. So it's a comfortable margin right now for SFSC, the 4th seed, against 5 seed Bishop State. They'll face the 1-8 winner on Field 1 at 7 o'clock later tonight. 1-1 the count. That's hit down the left field line, and that goes foul. So 1 ball and 2 strikes. Stafford leading batting average, leading in batting average, or at least tied for the top batting average on the roster. 340 coming into today. Does have a couple of homers and 27 RBIs. 1-2. Upstairs. Stafford able to lay off that high and outside rise ball. Infield basically at the standard position, even at the bag at the corners, and then playing a double play depth up the middle. 2-2. Hit into center field. Should be a routine play and is for Holcomb, 2 down. Runners have to stay put at first and second base. Brings up Anaya Burnett, who's had the only run production so far for Bishop State. That first inning 2-run homer to left center field. Anaya Burnett, the sophomore, 50 out of 147 coming in. So that homer, her 4th, and now up to 27 RBIs on the season. I think this is a pretty good coaching visit, by the way, that SFSC has as we speak, making sure that Michaela Oster is locked in as far as the scouting report and the strategy as far as how to pitch to Burnett. Carlos Falla taking his time as far as that visit with Michaela Oster. So far, Coach Falla's team has done an outstanding job, an outstanding start so far today here at Alabaster, Alabama. Veterans Park, a nice municipal facility here on the south side of Alabaster, really about the halfway point between Alabaster and Montevallo. Longtime home of the ACCC State Softball Tournament. There's still 2 runners on, and that rise ball upstairs to Burnett. You don't want to load the bases, but also at the same time, you don't want to give up another long ball if you're Oster to Burnett. Burnett grounded out to third her last time and takes a little bit outside. Ever since that homer, Oster has pitched arguably some of her best softball of the entire year. Just 2 hits allowed since the first inning, rather. 2-0 outside. So basically, Oster trying to nibble the strike zone, but not trying to groove one right in the sweet spot for Burnett. So it appears that the Lady Panthers will gladly load the bases if they need to avoid the big hit, as that's a little below the knees for ball 4. Not bad strategy, really, if you're South Florida State College, as that does indeed load the bases, but it takes away that home run threat from Burnett, as Lizzie Porro now with maybe her biggest at-bat of the season. Porro today, a ground out to Oster. That was in the first, and then ended the third with the first pitch pop-up to second. Humid afternoon, so looks as if Oster getting the towel treatment for her pitching hand. Looks as if we've got a pinch hitter. We'll make sure of that. Some form of substitution, however. And yes, it is a pinch hitter at the plate. Kaylee Weaver grabs the bat, comes off the bench for a huge at-bat in this one. Opportunity for Bishop State to get back in this ball game. That misses a little bit low, ball 1. See if we can get a look at Weaver's totals on the season. Weaver, a freshman, 7 doubles so far this year. 37 hits as she gets ahead in the count here, 2-0. So Kaylee Weaver with an extra base hit can just about put Bishop State back to within striking distance. Weaver, 46 games played, 128 at-bats, 37 hits this year, as she takes outside. So nowhere to put the Bishop State pinch hitter as Weaver comes in a pinch hitting role. 289 her batting average this year as the 3-0 pitch. Taken a high strike that time. Very top of the strike zone. 4 homers, 33 RBIs. Bishop State has not scored since the first, trying to get on the board here in the 5th. 3-1. Way inside. Hit by pitch, inside anyway. Just a matter of semantics at this point with the bases loaded. It's that will drive home a run. Officially a hit by pitch as Weaver with her 34th RBI. Bases remain loaded on the 3rd run of this game for the Bishop State Wildcats. So Wilson comes home to score. As also Watkins to third and Burnett to second base. So it looks as if we got a pinch runner as Braylon Miskimen checks in at first base for Bishop State. So Weaver checks out as Miskimen aboard, and it appears we also have a pitching change, so we'll step aside for this brief timeout and tell you who the new pitcher is after this. New pitcher for South Florida State College. Also, pinch hitter, check that. So another pinch hitter for Bishop State as Braylon Miskimen grabs the bat with the bases loaded, and now a 5-run deficit for Bishop State as that first pitch a ball. Megan Bent, the right-handed pitcher. A 5'5 freshman comes in, trying to keep a fairly sizable lead for the Lady Panthers. As that comes in and hits around the thigh area of Miskimen, and another run comes home to score. So a couple of 2-out RBIs now as a back-to-back hit by pitches results in 2 runs now, 2 free runs essentially for Bishop State. Watkins scores, Burnett to third, and now Weaver to second base. So Miskimen with the RBI. As that brings up Kaylee Bryant. Bryant, a ground out to third and a fly out to left today. Hit could draw the Wildcats within 2 as that's hit up the middle and through as Burnett scores, and also 2 runs come home to score as rounding third that time was Poro, who checked back in to score. And Bishop State right back in this ball game, now down by 2. So all of the production coming in this inning with 2 outs. Is now the possible tying run on base. So Kaylee Bryant with a big 2-run single. As there's a strike call. So Miskimen now in scoring position. Mallory Wheat to the plate as the Wildcats have batted around here in the 5th inning as that's taken high for a ball. So if we got one of our first finals today as far as ACCC baseball action. Actually, your first 2 finals in the books. As that misses inside on the 1-1. So now what it appeared as far as SFSC could have gone into the 5th inning with a chance to run rule. Now they're trying to just hold on to the lead. Shelton State over Nunez in ACCC, also NJCAA South D1 Baseball District Tournament action. 11-1 run rule final in 5 innings in favor of Shelton State. Count now at 3 balls and 1 strike. Mallory Wheat a walk and a strikeout. 3-1. Outside as that loads the bases. So Miskimen to third. Bryant into scoring position. As now the tying run in scoring position and the go-ahead run on base. Jessica Farr began this inning with a single. Now she's trying to come up with possibly the game-tying hit here. That's a screwball in the inside corner. So Farr 1 for 2 today. All of the run scoring in this inning has come with 2 down. That's hit hard and nice diving catch that time by Guzman to save the lead. Web Jim that time for Guzman at third as she's able to keep South Florida State College on top. But 4 runs scored to get Bishop State back in this one as we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Your new score is SFSC 8 and Bishop State 6. We come back to the bottom of the fifth inning as Bishop State able to score 4 on just a couple of hits. As Oster as well as the South Florida State pitching staff, Megan Bent coming in relief, just not able to get at least hold on as far as what was a 6-run lead going into the fifth inning. But at least if you're looking at it from the Lady Panthers' concern, that was a big play at third as Jessica Farrer robbed of possibly a 2-run tying single by the third baseman in Samalis Guzman. And so we go to the bottom of the fifth inning with the top of the order due up for the Lady Panthers. Caden Holcomb has reached base 3 times today. Guzman might have, in fact, right now has made the defensive play of the game today. Off-speed pitch outside corner. Holcomb single in the first, run scored, single in the second, walk in the third. So now Mooney maybe an outside chance to get a win today. Bishop State still has to get 3 runs and hold South Florida State off the board the rest of the way if they want to come back and win this one. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bottom of the fifth. There's a Tapper foul down the third base line. Holcomb, Washburn, and Rosa due up as the winner advances to field 1 for a 7 o'clock winner's bracket game for their final game of the day. And then the loser will have to go in that dreaded elimination bracket later on tonight. There's a grounder deep at short. No play by the shortstop Stafford. So a leadoff single for Caden Holcomb as she's 3 for 3 and now has reached base 4 times. Loser of this game goes into a 7 o'clock elimination game later tonight against the loser of Central Alabama and Bevel State. No finals so far on our other fields here in the Division II South District Tournament. Summer Washburn shows bunt, takes a ball, throw down, not in time. Stolen base for Holcomb. Other finals, ACCC baseball. South Division I tournament. Games at Jacksonville State today. Southern Union 4 and Northwest Shoals 3. That's final. And then earlier, Shelton State over Nunez 11-1 in 5 innings. They'll peel down on the swing and no swing, says our base umpire. So Washburn ahead in the count. Put that runner on the board in scoring position. There you go. 1-0. That's a double hit foul at home plate. Looked as if that also went off of Washburn, so hope she's okay. South Florida State College has led as much as 8-2, but give a lot of credit to Bishop State as they've been able, at least in their last at-bat, to score 4 runs with 2 outs to scratch their way back into contention. So now anybody's ball game here on field number 4, the opening round for this South District Tournament, NJCAA Division II District action. Washburn getting a long look as far as that last foul ball. Just trying to shake off that foul ball. Appears still a little bit gimpy, but she's going to return to home plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. 11 hits today for South Florida State. That drops low and away. Still out in the circle is Emma Mooney. Mooney well over the century mark in pitches today. As Washburn hitters count. Off the end of the bat, foul. And now the count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes. At least here on field number 4, our present game, followed by an expected 4:30 First pitch might go a little bit after 4:30, and then sometime around a 7 o'clock first pitch for our final game of the night. Drop ball low. Count full at 3 balls and 2 strikes. And when we look at the Field 4 schedule for what we hope certainly is a happy Friday tomorrow, should have some decent weather to get day 2 action started. As that's a called strike 3, and appeared that Washburn knew it. That might have been the best pitch we've seen from Emma Mooney all game today. Perfect location right at the knees on the inside corner. So 1 out, still a runner in scoring position for Brielle Rosa. Walk, sac fly, and a fielder's choice in her 3 plate appearances. That hits on the inside corner. When we look to tomorrow's games, at least Field 4 will have a loser's bracket game to begin the day. And then followed by, that's at 11 a.m. Central. Also a 4 o'clock loser's bracket game to conclude Field 4 action for the week. Count now at 1 ball and 1 strike. Trinity Rohrer on deck. Pitch. That's a good screwball at that time. That's hit foul. Right now, Emma Mooney wants to keep her team in contention, so she does not want to surrender any more runs. As Bishop State with the momentum, but the Lady Panthers of South Florida State College trying to wrestle away that momentum. The 4-seed SFSE has had the lead ever since the bottom of the first. Bishop State had an early first 2 runs of the game. Ever since that bottom of the first, they have not had the lead, but they scored 4 2-out runs in the top of the 5th to claw their way right back in this ball game. Rosa with a feisty at bat. Now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mooney comes home. That's hit toward left field, and that will be, caught, they'll say, in left field. That was a nice diving play by Wilson to be able to backhand on a sliding effort that time. We've had some outstanding defensive plays by both teams so far today. 2 down now, and just 1 error unofficially between these 2 teams. So 2 outs for Trinity Rohrer. Strikeout, fly out, and a walk her last time up as she takes a strike. So after getting roughed up for 8 runs in her first 3 innings, Emma Mooney trying to come up with 2 consecutive scoreless innings. So if she can come up with a 0 in this half inning, she'll definitely help Bishop State a big deal as far as trying to get them possibly back to a tie or even a lead. 1 ball, 1 strike. Rohrer comes home, or swings rather, as Mooney gets a foul ball from Rohrer. It's now Mooney 1 pitch away from getting out of trouble. If you're the team at the plate, you would like to at least answer that 4-run half inning in the top of the 5th as the pitch hit well into left center field. As going over and not able to make the play is Wilson as that one hops the wall. Trying to go to third, Rohrer, as that throw gets toward the third base dugout. That is a big 2 RBI double as Rohrer able to drive home Holcomb from second, as the lead now up to 3 for SFSC. That's a big hit for the Lady Panthers. Rohrer's first RBI of the day as that scores Holcomb from second base. Wilson or Watkins not able to make the plays. That's first pitch foul from Samalis Guzman. Guzman so far with the biggest defensive play today. A line drive diving stab to probably prevent this game from being tied coming into this half inning. So now she's trying to drive another run home. That slides outside. Guzman, an RBI grounded in the first. Walk and a run scored in the third, and also ended the third on a comebacker to the circle. Very interested to see where Emma Mooney's at as far as our pitch count. Drops down and away, 2-1. We have to be getting close to 150 pitches so far. 133 pitches according to our official score. Forgot who it was for LSU that was around 200 pitches against Alabama in 14 innings yesterday down in the SEC tournament. That pitch outside. See if I can pull up Nathan Sheehan's game story from the University of Alabama as far as that SEC tournament loss for Alabama. (3-1) now the count on Samalis Guzman. And she takes for ball 4. So now runners at the corners with 2 down. As that brings up Portia Rodriguez. Rodriguez 1 for 3. Pop up to third. A single and a run scored in the third. And then flied out to center to begin the fourth. And that was remarkable how well that the pitching performed in that Bama LSU SEC second day game, the first game of the day yesterday down at Jane B. Moore Field in Auburn, as there's a foul ball. Give a lot of credit to Bishop State. They could have easily just folded the 10 in this game, but they fought back very nicely so far, and they're within striking distance and trying to hold it now at a 3-run deficit. Mooney comes home. Grounded over to third. Knocked down at third as the throw to second gets away. So another run comes home to score. As that makes it now 10-6 as the runners will now go to second and third. Fielder's choice for Rodriguez as she advances to second. Rohrer scores on the play. No RBI, as we'll call that an E5. E5 to allow this inning to proceed as we go to the number 7 batter in the order. Suhaili Mercado at the plate, who's 3 for 3. That's how you look now as far as that 4-run top of the fifth. Without that 2-run rally, this game would be over with. But now, for SFSC, they're trying to further turn the tables on Bishop State. Trying to come up with their own 2-run, or at least 2-out crooked number here in the bottom of the fifth. That's off the end of the bat foul. Suhaili Mercado, the left fielder. 7th batter in the order, 7th batter in the inning as well. 5 hits today for Bishop State. 2 hits in this inning. 12 hits in total for South Florida State. 2 runners in scoring position. Curveball outside. Been a long wait for MMI down the third base line. I think they were certainly hoping for an early exit as well as far as this game. Obviously 8 runs after 5 as the pitch. Called a strike. Screwball makes it 1 ball and 2 strikes. Regardless of what happens in this at bat, a big 2 runs in this inning to further build their cushion for the Lady Panthers, who are at the plate. Mooney trying to get that elusive third out. Off the end of the bat, and it drops. Looks like trapped that time, or no, called that an out at home plate. as the throw home not in time. A little confusion. I thought I saw the out indicated by the home plate umpire, and so we're going to have a little meeting between our three umpires on the field. I thought the home plate umpire indicated an out at home plate, but I saw the ball being trapped over what appeared to be a trapped little pop-up over at second base, and indeed the out will be upheld. So in my mind, a break that time for Bishop State as the inning comes to an end. And I think that's exactly what SFSC is arguing about, is that last pop-up was trapped. But our umpires say it's out, and we have concluded this bottom of the fifth, as now SFSC back on top by 4 as we go to the sixth. We go to the top of the sixth inning. At least from our view, it appeared on that last pop-up for Suhaili Mercado that, at least in my view, at live speed, as well as for our official scorer right next to me up here in the press box, that we thought that pop-up was trapped as far as the short hop at second. But according to our home plate umpire who made the call, it was called out on the field, and at least the call stood after a brief umpire review with our three-man umpiring crew. So 2 runs on a couple of hits with an error and 2 left on base for the Lady Panthers as we now go to the top of the sixth inning. James Hardy with you. We appreciate you for joining us here on JockJive.com. So both teams able to get some runs on the board in that fifth inning. 4 for Bishop State. As the first pitch, a strike call to Emma Wilson. Wilson has reached base twice today. A single in the second, reached on a fielder's choice and scored one of those 4 runs in the fifth. As there's an off-speed pitch inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. First full inning for Megan Bent today from Deltona, Florida. As that rise ball misses high and away. So what appeared to be a pretty solid pace going for SFSC pitching. The pace of this game now has grinded to a halt. Plodding our way toward the finish line as the 2-1 dips low and in. Pitching might be an issue for both of these teams in their next game. One of these 2 teams will be playing for their tournament lives later tonight. That's the 3-1. Hit right back through for a base hit. Bent somehow got out of the way of that liner as that gets into center field. So base runner aboard. As we go back to the top of the order in Olivia Watkins. Pop up to second to begin this ball game, ground out to third to end the second, and a walk and a run scored in the fifth. All but 2 of Bishop State's runs have come with 2 outs today. Pitch outside. A couple of 2-out runs for South Florida State College in the fifth. They also sent 10 to the plate in a 4-run third. 1-0 pitch. That's on the inside corner, a strike call. Haven't gotten really a decent look as far as the schedule this season for SFSC. Last game they defeated Florida Gateway 6-3 at home. Into the bat pop-up. Foul territory as Washburn makes the play. So 1 down now. as Watkins retired. Harmony Stafford 1 for 3, single and a run scored in the first, led off the third with a ground out to third and then flied out to center in the fifth inning. SFSC took 2 of 3 in their most recent weekend series 2 weeks ago against Florida Gateway. SFSC actually finished off the season with 8 consecutive home games as the count 1-0 now to Stafford. And just on the outside corner for a strike. Next scheduled game is going to be about 30 minutes after the conclusion of Game 1 here. MMI and also Lake Sumter on deck. That's a 3-6 matchup. Lake Sumter, the 6 seed, and MMI, the 3 seed. 2 balls and 1 strike to Harmony Stafford. 2-1 is hit hard into the gap. That might roll all the way to the wall. Holcomb gets it in. It's now runners at second and third. Actually, a good job of Holcomb able to get that ball quickly back into the infield, as that artificial turf helped that scorcher roll all the way to the wall. So now to the plate will be Anaya Burnett. And it appears we're going to have a new pitcher come in. We'll step aside, tell you who that is after this timeout. Top of the 6th inning, 1 out. Set things up for you at home as runners now at second and third base with less than 2 outs. As Anaya Burnett to the plate, as we will have a re-entry into the circle as Megan Bent hands the ball back to Michaela Oster. So basically, Oster getting as much as a 1-inning water break, essentially, as she was relieved by Megan Bent in the last inning. So a topsy-turvy brief outing for Bent as Oster inherits runners at second and third with 1 down here in the top of the 6th inning. Anaya Burnett, a walk, a homer, 2 runs scored, 1 for 2 as she takes a strike call. 2-run homer in the first got the scoring started, then grounded out to third in the 3rd inning and walked and scored in the 5th. Wind, pitch, drop ball taken. The 2nd, 3rd, and 4th today, the most effective innings so far for Oster today. Only allowed a couple of base runners in that three-inning stretch. 1-1. Pitch high and away, and really for both teams has been at best inconsistent pitching from both sides. So it's a matter of who can get at least the best situational pitching down the stretch. 2-1. That's outside for ball 3. So SFSC trying to find some sort of answer in the circle as they're trying to limp their way to the finish line successfully. 3-1. Pitch on the way. Inside and low for ball 4. So bases loaded as now the tying run comes to the plate. 2nd consecutive time that Burnett has walked, as it's Lizzie Porro to the plate. She was pinch hit for by Kaylee Weaver, who drew a bases loaded hit by pitch. Porro stands in and takes a strike call. huge opportunity for Bishop State. As there's less than 2 outs, they have a chance. They can come up with a couple of big hits, maybe to tie or take the lead, as that's a fly ball down the line and hooking and out of play. No balls and 2 strikes. Right now for Oster, she'd certainly take the exchange of an out on a sac fly for a run. If you're SFSC, do not want to give up the extra base hit in this situation. 1-2. Back off the glove of Oster, right to second as Rodriguez tosses in time. However, that's an RBI ground out, but I think with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs, SFSC will take that exchange. 1-4-3, your garden variety RBI ground out in that situation. 2 down. And that also means that Wilson comes home to score. Stafford to third, and Burnett into scoring position. A strike call. Miskimen back up at the plate. Hit by a pitch her last time up. Also drove in a run with the bases loaded. Count even now at 1-1. So in a lot of ways, even with a 3-run advantage, the Lady Panthers still in survival mode, trying to just get to the finish line. Pitch low for ball 2. I think if you're in the Bishop State dugout, you feel you have a chance maybe to pull this game out today. Only a couple of hits, and you may get a lead here late in this game. That's bounced. That's off of the third baseman, Guzman, and another run comes home to score. Call that an E5. No RBI on the play as Stafford scores. And now runners at the corners with 2 down. Set things up for you as it's now a 10-8 ball game. Now that we got that homework taken care of. 2 runs in the inning, Burnett to third. And now the tying run on base as there's a first pitch strike to Kaylee Bryant. 2-run double in the 5th. So now any more runs that scored this inning will be unearned. Pitch. Misses inside. I think the advantage right now is to Bishop State because they have the momentum. That 4 runs in the 5th inning with 2 outs really helped them not only survive but also yank the momentum into their dugout. As we're coming almost to the home stretch today. There's a liner right at Rohrer. As that ends the inning, but a couple runs score for Bishop State as they're down 2 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning here on JockJive. Five and a half innings in the books as Bishop State at least back in contention as they're down a couple. 2 runs, 2 hits, an error, and 2 left on base in the top of the 6th inning. As the Bishop State Wildcats have the momentum, but they get 3 outs and 3 runs that they want to take a lead in the top of the 7th inning. But still the bottom of the 6th inning to go, however, as O'Quinn along with Underwood and Holcomb due up for Bishop State. I think it looks as if that Wildcats right-hander Emma Mooney still out there in the circle remarkably. She's gone the distance so far. Certainly a workhorse-like effort today. And so Quinn with a 3-run double in the third. 1-4 sacrifice in the second, and then a fly out to right her last time up in the fourth. Pitch floats high. So Quinn looking to get aboard here. Winner goes to a 7 o'clock winners bracket game on field 1. And then obviously a losers bracket game coming up. As count now at 2 balls and no strikes, 2-0 Quinn. Loser goes over to field 2 for a 7 o'clock Central Time elimination game. Bouncer, fair ball at third. Should be an easy play for Wheat, and it is. 1 down. Got to get a 0 on the board if you're Bishop State here if you want to have a decent chance to either tie or take the lead in the top of the 7th inning, and should be in good position as you get the number 9 batter with 1 down, and Kaylee Underwood came on as a pinch hitter and reached on an error in the third and scored as part of that 4-run inning, and then struck out to end the 4th. South Florida State College has left a total of 10 runners on base. They've left at least 1 aboard in every at-bat so far. As first pitch, ball 1. Mooney 2 outs away from at least a 6-inning complete game win if Bishop State cannot come all the way back. Be very interested to see who the Wildcats would decide to go with in an elimination game later on tonight if they cannot come back with at least 2 in the top of the 7th. They were on the doorstep of elimination back around the 4th, 5th inning, but they've been able to make a game of it. Bishop State down as much as 8-2 back in the top of the 5th inning with 2 outs. Able to score 4 runs in the 5th inning on just a couple of hits. Now SFSC would like to add at least some runs here in the 6th inning as the count at 3-0 to the number 9 batter in the order, Underwood. Likely the red light here for Underwood. Pulls back and takes a strike indeed. Bishop State showing some resilience today. Showing some grit and determination to be able to come back from a 6-run hole. Fly ball. Should be an easy play in left center field as the center fielder Watkins makes the play. So Emma Mooney has a chance for what could be and would be her first 1-2-3 inning of this ball game. Caden Holcomb, center fielder, 4 times on base today. 3 singles and a walk along with a couple of runs scored. Takes the drop ball. So right now, Bishop State with the momentum, but right now they're 2 runs on the short end of the scoreboard. They've scored 6 of the last 8 in this game. That's lined off of the third baseman's glove in Wheat, and so that'll keep this inning alive. Could have and probably, in my mind, should have been a catch, but not necessarily a traditional atom ball. So I think we're going to call that an E5 as Wheat, I'd say probably should have been about a 90% catch likelihood that time. Inning continues, however, as Summer Washburn. 1-hop grounder, knocked down. No worries, though, for Bryant as she tosses to Burnett to close out the inning. So the error does not hurt Bishop State. No runs, no hits, no errors, or 1 error, rather, and 1 left on base. So Bishop State needs 2 to tie and 3 to take the lead as we go to the top of the 7th inning as it remains 10-8 in favor of South Florida State. Yep. Final at bat for Bishop State as we go to the top of the 7th inning as they've scored 6 of their 8 runs in the last 2 at bats. Michaela Oster trying to drag the Lady Panthers of South Florida State College to the finish line successfully here in their opening game in Alabaster. James Hardy with you. Bishop State has the bottom third of their order due up. Mallory Wheat, Jessica Farrer, and Emma Wilson. So what would appear to be a disadvantage, if they can get one of these 3 batters aboard, they could certainly, or at least a couple of them aboard, they could have an outside chance to get Anaya Burnett, who's already homered today, with a chance maybe to get the Wildcats in the lead. First things first, let's see what Bishop State does, as Mallory Wheat has walked twice and struck out. Takes a strike call. Name of the game base runners right now for the Wildcats, as they need to get some base runners to put some more game pressure on the Lady Panthers. SFSC, the Lady Panthers, and the Wildcats of Bishop State. Both teams will be playing on different fields in about 2.5 hours and change. Down the right field line, that will land foul for a strike. Right in front of Rosa that time, as we have, I believe, both lineups for our next game. Lake Sumter and MMI in the green room awaiting to get their pregame warm-ups in. Both teams, especially MMI, have been in the green room for quite a while. 0-2 is grounded and through the left side for a base hit. Caught too much of the plate that time on the 0-2 from Oster. As now the possible tying run comes to the plate for Bishop State. So we'll have, looks as if a substitution, I think, as you'll have Bishop State have a pinch runner come in at first base. We'll grab that substitution here for the Wildcats in just a few moments. Put the runner aboard for you there. As we'll have, I think it's number 6 that's on at first base. We'll get that confirmed here, or we'll check that out in just a moment. In either case, as far we know at the plate. As that's taken, runner goes, throw down, and that is in time. Kaylee Field, the pinch runner that time, thrown out. Good throw by Washburn, as she's able to get that 2-4 caught stealing. Big out for South Florida State. Pitch a strike that time, so no balls and 1 strike. So Kaylee Field, what turns out to be a brief pinch running appearance, as there's a 2-hop grounder. Throw across from Rohrer in time. And now Bishop State down to their final out. So Emma Wilson's job trying to keep this game going, as there's now nobody on base and 2 down. So the Wildcats down to their possible final batter as they're looking to stave off elimination. Or at least stave off going to the elimination bracket as that first pitch for ball 1. Couple singles, 2 runs scored, fielder's choice today for Emma Wilson. So the bottom of the order has been fairly productive for Bishop State today. 1-0 pitch. That's a strike call, evens the count. If you're Michaela Oster, you just want to go ahead and get this out, secure the win, not have to face the top third of the order, and just go ahead and secure that spot in the winner's bracket tonight. 1-1 downstairs. One more out, and SFSC would move on to field number 1 for a winner's bracket game at around 7 o'clock. 2 balls, 1 strike. Pop up, and now the Wildcats down to their final strike. Mallory Wheat got the inning started with a single. Then Kaylee Field tried to steal second, was caught stealing. And then a ground out from forward, and now a 2-2 on the way. Pitch. Grounded over to third. Should do it as Guzman over to first base, and that's your ball game. 3 up, 3 down, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base for Bishop State as South Florida State College holds off a late rally by Bishop State to advance to the winner's bracket tonight with a 10-8 win. So that means that Bishop State will drop into a elimination game later on tonight against the loser of top seed Central Alabama and Bevel State, while South Florida State College will face the winner of Central Alabama and Bevel State later on tonight. One more time, your final score is South Florida State College 10 and Bishop State 8. James Hardy signing off, as stay tuned. In about 30 minutes, it'll be our second of 3 games today. The 3-seed MMI against the 6-seed Lake Sumter here at Veterans Park in Alabaster.